Alrighty folks, want to welcome you back to another video from Yates Computers Tips and Reviews. Well, I've already gone over a couple categories about this. Want to go over some more. The simplest product that really isn't the simplest product. Your network cable. Nowadays, there's so many variables to this network cable. So, not too sure how to cover the next groups, how to separate them. So, basically, depending on how your network's set up, where you're at, especially gamers, this can apply to you. This can apply to all home users, all businesses, all kinds of graphics designs people, a lot of different things, banking, financials, everybody basically gets affected by this. Most people, in the old days, everybody, let's say, pretty much got affected by this. Because now there's new technology out there like Wi-Fi. So you don't need to use this. But I've got videos already on Wi-Fi. Talks about speeds of Wi-Fi. Talks about bandwidth. If you're a gamer, Wi-Fi can and cannot work for you. Most hardcore gamers are on network wire. Most big businesses are on network wire. Most probably small businesses, depending on your volume, should be on network. Because if you're on Wi-Fi, you have security too you have to deal with. More security. So, goes into your cable. Goes into some of those other videos about switches and hubs and all these other things that I've already done. Because now you have Cat 5e, that's the low end standard. That's pretty much what everybody's running, Cat 5e. You now have Cat 6. You now have Cat 6 shielded. Huge variables between those two. If your equipment supports the shielded and you're running it from your router straight to your computer, it's probably a very good idea to use a shielded cable. The connectors are different. I don't recommend the flat. It's on the other video. I have this for trial purposes for me to test with. Because, like I mentioned in the other video, this isn't Cat 6. This is Cat 7. Cat 7 has more shielding in it. And I'm curious and want to see, does it make a difference? Because I know flat cable is pretty much junk and no good. But if you got Cat 7 with all the shielding, does it make a difference? Does it make it reliable? Problem I have is I'm not running high bandwidth. This stuff supports 10, 50 gig connections. Way above what I'm running through it. So I can't even make a dent in this. But what I'm curious on is for the simple home user, simple little stuff that where we've always, and I still today don't recommend this, is maybe there's a difference now. Go back, watch the video between round versus flat to get more detail. I don't want to go into all that in this video. But you have shielded. The connectors are different. Reason why I mentioned that direct is because you can buy one cable, hook it up, hook it to there. If you have cabling run in your wall, you can always do shielded cable. It needs a different keystone jack. It needs a shielded keystone jack. So you can connect the shielding, and this connects to that, and it'll transmit all the way through. So you can even use shielded through wired in the wall, if it's wired with shielded wire. So that's one of the key factors you might want to look at. Because you run those wires up in the wall, you have electrical, you have your phone, you have all these other lines that are running to that wall. That can cause interference. Surround sound stereo, you have your speaker lines that run through, and you have all these things. You might want to consider running shielded in the wall. And if you already did shielded in the wall, you might as well use the shielded cable. My recommendation is, if you can do it, if you can afford it, use shielded. It's better protection. But this will work for you. Most people, home use, Cat 6, unshielded, should have the inner liner between the lines, the 4 pairs. I've seen it where it's marked Cat 6. It does not have that inner liner between them. Cabling still works. Everything's great. Get good speeds out of it. But that's also another factor you want to know. Because if you're making these cables yourself, and you're doing that you got to cut that out of there. You got to know how to cut that out of there. That's a new step you got to do when you make these cables. So I wanted to touch on that. So with these cabling and how everything's done, gamers, Cat 6 is much more tested to be more stable, more reliable, that you might consider making sure you're on a Cat 6 than on a 5E. I'm not running 5E. I've gone to Cat 6, got a couple of these Cat 7s. Cat 6 I have is not shielded, so wanted to touch base on that. Make sure people know. So I want to wrap this little segment up. Thank everybody for watching. Next segment will be coming up. I'll be recording that soon. And thank you very much.